Hi, everybody. So glad to see you all here. We're all here with the same heart. My name is Ellie, and I'm here to share my testimony of how God has redeemed and restored my broken life and hiding behind secrets of guilt and shame for most of my life. I was raised in a great family with lots of love from my parents and grandparents. Our little family became complete when my brother was adopted into our family at birth. I was 4 years old, and I could not have been happier to be a big sister. We had a great life. All the fun things filled our lives, but one thing was missing. And I didn't know until I was 40 years old what was missing. But we didn't have a Bible, we didn't pray, we didn't go to church. We had each other, but we didn't have God. Tragedy struck our family when I was 16. My mom died very suddenly of a brain hemorrhage. My dad married soon after, and I was just heartbroken. There was an emptiness that only God could have filled. I became bitter, angry, and totally unaccepting of my dad's new wife. I left home at 17, totally lost, confused, scared, and lonely. I began looking for love in all the wrong places, and I ended up pregnant at 19. The dad seemed very happy and in love with me and excited to have a child. My pregnancy was very pleasant, and I knew my life would now have meaning in being a mom. Little did I know that the father of the baby would abandon us when my son was just weeks old, never to be seen again. Here I was with a newborn baby with absolutely no one to help me. And once again, I felt so abandoned. I wanted to provide a good life and be a good mom. I picked myself up and I began my new life as a single mom. It was so hard. I loved Jason so much. I was determined to give him a good life. I will never forget one day when I picked him up from preschool, in that sweet little boy voice, he asked me, "Mommy, how come all the other kids have a daddy and I don't?" It pierced my heart. The one thing I couldn't give him was the thing that he needed the most. I knew when he said that abandonment would become an issue for him, just like it had been for me. I worked hard to provide, and it was exhausting at times. I continued looking for love in all the wrong places, and I ended up pregnant again. Jason was 6 years old. When I told the father, he wanted nothing to do with me or the baby. The one thing I couldn't give Jason was a daddy, and now I was faced with another baby who would have no father. I just couldn't do this to another child. In the depths of my soul, I couldn't imagine how I could have 2 children with no father. That's what I wanted for them more than anything. My heart was broken. I called my gynecologist, who I had a very good relationship with, and he told me that he would take care of everything. He would just make all this go away. He would admit me to the very hospital where he delivers babies. And as I was being wheeled into the surgical suite to be put under anesthesia, I believed the lie. What he told me was that he was going to do a DNC, he didn't call it an abortion, and he would just scrape my uterus. After all, he told me it was tissue, not a baby. I went home from the hospital thinking how much my doctor cared for me, that he would do this for me. Now, if that's not believing a lie, I don't know what is. Just days after the abortion, I had this horrible image of my baby's skeleton being locked away in a dark closet. I was never going to open that door again. I couldn't even hear the word abortion. And I stuffed this dirty, dark secret so deep in my soul, I knew I would never have children again. A few years later, I met my husband, Mike, and I had to tell him that I wanted to marry him, but was he okay with having no children? And he loved me enough and agreed and had a vasectomy. So that door was now closed for me to have more children, and I was 30. I knew I didn't want to go back to my old ways, and 10 years after our marriage, we were getting a divorce. And it was amicable. I was 40 years old, and I knew I didn't want to go back to my old ways. God got a hold of me during that time, and he led me to a divorce recovery workshop at a church. And I saw something in those people that I wanted. I didn't have it. It was peace. I started going to church. Little to my knowing, my husband was going to church. We were not communicating. And we gave our lives to Christ, and our marriage was saved. We were baptized together, and we started our born-again life. I'm grateful to say that we have now been married for 38 years. Yeah. All by the very grace of God. But I still carried my secret of abortion, full of shame, guilt, and regret. Mike knew about it, but he was it. I have a friend who was leading an abortion support group at my church. And one day, she had a brain hemorrhage like my mom. And she was in a coma and not expected to live. I whispered in her ears with tears rolling down my cheeks, "You need to get well, Robin. I need healing from an abortion." It's the first time I told anybody. I finally felt safe telling her she was in a coma. Through God's healing and mercy, she got better and was able to help in the support group. I knew she hadn't heard me, but I knew that God did. So I signed up, and I found God's forgiveness in that study for what I thought was an unforgivable sin. I felt free for the first time in nearly 20 years. John 8:36 says, "If the Son makes you free, you are free indeed." And 2 Corinthians 5:17, "The old is gone, the new has come. Anyone who belongs to Christ is a new creation." I was so happy to be a new creation. Life just kept getting better and better, and God led me to a beautiful job that only God could have given me, working as an adoption advisor. He knew my heart and purposes that He had planned for me before I was even born. I have a deep heart for women in crisis pregnancies. What a treasured blessing He gave me. 13 years to walk alongside women who choose life for their babies and then choose to give them an abundant life that they're not able to give. They are truly the bravest women on the face of the earth, in my opinion. God knows my lost desire to have a daughter. So He gave me birth moms to love and encourage. Only God could give me that gift. He truly brings beauty for ashes. But He didn't even stop there. 4 years ago, I was laid off from my job, and I was deeply saddened as I loved my work in ministry to these brave women. It was my life. I prayed to God, what next? But I trusted Him, and I knew He had a plan. As I finished my caseload, I never dreamed that we would be moving to Florida just a few short months later. I started praying daily, "God, if this is your desire for my life, make it so clear that I won't miss your plans for me." And He did just that, one blessing after another, leading us here as God prepared us to move 3,000 miles away from the life I knew and loved. As soon as we arrived, we set out to visit churches. And we visited First Baptist Church of Naples. We liked the worship, the message, and the friendly people. We decided, why keep looking? And we attended the following week. Much to my amazement, there was an announcement in the bulletin for an orientation at the Pregnancy Resource Center for advocates the very following week. I was only here a week. I was so excited. Could this be the plan that God had for me? There really was something more. And I jumped in, and I have loved serving through this ministry, helping girls to choose life and sharing the love of Christ with them for nearly 4 years now. But one last thing that came as a complete surprise, which turned out to be such a blessing and why I stand here today. I was required to go through Surrendering the Secret, which is a Bible study for women that are need healing from abortion. And it has been life-changing. It has opened a new place in my heart for serving with Jill Lynn, who is the restoration coach at PRC, in this very necessary ministry that so many women need. Going through this study has brought me more healing and helped me to let go of the shame. And now, finally, after 44 years, I've forgiven myself, and can stand before you today and share the biggest regret of my life, knowing full well that God will use it for his glory. Yes. Blessed be the comfort of God, who comforts us in our afflictions, so we will be able to comfort others where we ourselves have been comforted. That's 2 Corinthians 1:3. That's my life testimonial verse. And I have one last thing I want to share with you, and I hope I can say it without really crying. So pray for me, friends. I wrote this poem when I went through the first Bible study with Robin. And it just came to me one night. I want you to know, Rebecca, I love you so. I've missed out in life watching you grow. As the time here on earth goes by so quickly in the blink of an eye, through the years I've been able to cope, knowing, believing in our precious Savior, I have hope. I thank the Lord he has cared for you, and one day that our lives will be together, brand new. I know when I get to the pearly gate, I will find you there with your arms open wide as you patiently wait. Until that time, my precious sweet girl, may it be in our Father's arms you are gently curled. I thank the Lord for his most precious treasure. His love and his forgiveness is truly beyond measure. Until we meet again, Rebecca, you will always be in my heart. I love you.